Hoping everybody got a chance to catch their breath this past weekend. Still coming off that emotional high of a Canada-U.S. championship game on Thursday. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee, Derek Brandeo, Jake Schultz, Jen Rolnick's floating around somewhere in the building.
Yeah, shout out to Jen for a great job tidying up the studio. What effort.
Well, if you didn't make such a mess, you wouldn't have to.
Well, listen, nice.
Like, what is going on, guys? Come on, a little respect around here.
You can't be a rock star if you don't act like a rock star sometimes. Sometimes we got to flip over chairs. It's just the way we roll.
If I didn't say that, you guys would have said I was a slob, so I beat you to it.
Seen your desk up.
We are live on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, Sportsnet 360, and Sportsnet Plus. We are back, baby. Leaf Hour edition of our program. Then we go national at the top of the hour. Ren Lavoie will join us. Lots of juicy tidbits out there as we get ever so closer to the trade deadline.
Yeah. It's been, let me just say, Kip, it's been really hard to not make the Leafs the whole story for the last couple weeks here. Like, not having a Leafs hour stinks.
I don't know if I agree.
No?
I think, and you mentioned catching our breath still from last week. I think that was some of the most, I guess it's because Canada won. But
I didn't say our shows were bad.
No, but doing it and just talking about one team and not talking about contracts and not talking about transactions and just, it felt like playoffs. Where we come in here and we do a show and we talk about these huge games and they're emotionally involved. I really enjoyed it. And we're back to slogging it here. I'm ready to talk Leafs, ready to talk trades, ready to talk everything. But last couple of weeks was phenomenal, boys. I loved it.
So before we get into a few smaller details, including the action this past weekend, how was the transition from that game Thursday night to getting back into the swing of NHL hockey on the weekend? Because it's kind of tough watching some of the games again for me personally.
Yeah, you know what's really funny is it was like, oh no, like we have to watch the Leafs bottom six, like an NHL team bottom six, and then their bottom six was electric. It was, Holmberg and Steeves and Kampf, and it was like, these guys all should have been in that tournament. What an unbelievable bottom six they have.
Is that what you saw? I saw some bad hockey.
I think there were some incredibly strange results over the weekend. If you look at a lot of the scores that were just very weird, big leads for a lot of teams getting out. Like the Sabres were leading the Rangers at one point, 5-0. Yeah, like the Washington beat the Penguins 8-something. Edmonton's stinking it up. It felt like there were some really weird results. But yeah, that first period was the first goal coming back was it Steeves scores, Holmberg scores, and then Kampf scores in the first period. Yeah, it was a bit of a shock to the system.
So I got a kick out of Seth Jarvis because, of course, he was a member of Team Canada, huge high. Sportsnet did a great job of finding his buddies who borrowed their mom's soccer van to drive in from Manitoba to Boston, and arguably the best moment of his hockey career. And then Saturday night, he has to go on Carolina television and do an interview and, give the host a lot of credit for kind of hanging in there. And she probably did what she was supposed to do and just try to get the capture the mood and the excitement off of the Canada win for Seth Jarvis. But all he could think about is getting his lunch fed by the Toronto Maple Leafs 4-0 in the first period. Have a listen to Seth Jarvis trying to do an interview and being excited for Canada, but dealing with 4-0 and Rod Brindamore in the first intermission.
Welcome back to Toronto, where I am now joined by Canes forward Seth Jarvis. Seth, I know you're fully dialed into this game here tonight, but for Kaniak Nation, who has not heard from you, maybe for the first time since winning gold in the Four Nations Face-Off tournament, congratulations. How would you describe the emotions of the moment to win gold and represent your country?
Yeah, meant a lot for me. It was an awesome experience. I can't think of anything right now. We're We're battling.
You guys are battling right now, and we did show in the first period the picture of you and your friends that made the trek from Winnipeg, and you and I talked this morning about how special that was. If you could just describe the support that you have felt throughout the past 2 weeks and what you noticed from that experience.
Yeah, meant a lot. Those guys gave up a lot of their time to come support me. They got exams on Monday, and they took time out of their days to come and watch a friend. So it meant a lot.
I know how difficult this is after the first period. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. Good luck in the second.
Sorry, Hannah.
It's okay.
That is good. That is good.
It's like someone
That is really
drowning
good.
after the Titanic's gone under and being like, "How was your dinner? Was your dinner good?"
Sorry, Hannah.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Just
That's
get me
actually
the hell
really
outta
good.
here.
Like, come on. How do you go from that on Thursday to that Saturday night? That's a reality of we're right back in NHL hockey. And,
That's hilarious.
Whiplash, man.
oh, God, I got a good chuckle out of that. And you know what?
I'm sorry, I can't think of anything.
Ton of respect for Seth Jarvis for, like, not hiding at all. Like, we are in the here and now world. You know, you living in the past or getting too far out of the future. But that guy said, I am right here in this moment, and we're down 4-0, and it sucks right now.
Yeah.
I thought she was going in for the third question. I was like, Hannah, read the
He
room.
doesn't want to be here.
But no, she was saying goodbye.
Well done. Well
That's
done.
good stuff.
Gosh. All right. So, Toronto Maple Leafs in our
Sorry.
Leaf Hour edition.
Sorry, Kyper. I don't have any. Sorry, Kyper.
Sorry.
Don't have my best today.
We've should have apologized to a lot of guests over the years on this show. And we haven't done that yet. 4 points for the Toronto Maple Leafs on back-to-back games. I guess getting the job done, getting the points, moving ahead of Florida in the Atlantic, all good.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, not compelling hockey for me. But do we give them a pass because of coming off last week, particularly Matthews and Marner?
I mean, I feel like, yes. Yeah, you know, like I said, I wouldn't even played him this weekend, and they took the weekend off, essentially. You know, and not to be dismissive, but, like, I think really hard after playing in games with stakes like that. You know, like, after guys go to the Stanley Cup playoffs and then they start the next season in exhibition games, it's hard. You know, you watch these teams struggle out of the gates. The games don't mean as much. It kind of felt like that. This for Matthews and Marner felt
kind of
insignificant.
felt like that, but like Matthews only played 3 games and 4 games in total. It wasn't like they got beat up for 3 weeks. I get the emotional aspect of it, but
aspect.
Did you see the question Kevin McGran asked him?
Yeah. Yeah, do you see that?
I did see
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
If you didn't
Will it
see
haunt you?
essentially, Kevin, who great reporter, just asked him, you know, like, will it haunt you? You were so close to tipping that puck in overtime. And he was just like,
Sure,
you know,
Kevin.
like, sure, Kevin.
No, 2 words. Sure, Kevin.
Sure, Kevin.
Sure,
Like, it
Kevin.
obviously bothers him. And it was very recent. And he was
Yeah.
like,
We don't have it, do we?
No.
All right.
Sure, Kevin.
Oh, we do.
Oh, there it is. Sure, Kevin.
done.
Yeah, there it is. Now, we all know Kevin. He's been a veteran.
he's a pro.
Like,
Yeah.
he's a pro.
and it's a good question.
But, yeah, he kind of caught himself. Maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I should have substitute haunted for another word.
Yeah. It's a touchy subject. So I do think, though, that does reflect
Yeah, correct.
there was some emotional damage
Yeah.
along the way. So anyway, those guys aside, I think it was almost refreshing to be like, McCabe scores and Nick Robertson gets 2 and Cam scores and Holmberg scores and, you know, kind of Steeves is on the board.
Yeah.
So when they didn't have their best, they got picked up. And how often do we get to say that? Not that often.
So just to pick up on that, I know on you had mentioned, somebody called me and said they were expecting a more of a celebration for Canada's win and Mitch Marner, but you made a comment with JD Bunkus last night about
on Saturday after
the game.
Like, I would say that it was an after the game take where I was surprised that they didn't do more to honor Canada's win and, you know, give the arena a chance to give Mitch Marner a standing ovation or whatever for being an integral part of a massive goal.
Yeah.
I would say I've cooled off from the take. I mean, it's 2 days later, but I am surprised that they didn't really.
They were playing off to Justin's point where you got a sensitive captain, U.S. team, and
for sure,
so
and Willie's part of it too. I understand that,
and Willie's part of Sweden, so it's kind of like celebrate all three of them for participating.
Yeah, but there's celebrating, and then there's putting up a thing in the TV timeout like it's a returning player. I think there could have been a little bit more. They treated it like it was an all-star kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where we all knew what the stakes were of that. We all know how it felt.
Yeah.
We know it. The Four Nations face-off, it was way more than that. I thought they would have done something. I don't care as much now. I'm not as bent out of shape about it as I was, but I still think they could have spent 2 minutes before the anthem being like, hey, welcome home, Four Nations face-off champion Mitch Marner, and they give the chance to celebrate what was an unbelievable moment literally 2 days before. That's it.
Okay. As far as the weekend goes, you want to go Saturday against Carolina? You want to jump to Chicago? Where do you want to go, JB?
Well, we got 2 overview clips, Skip. Why don't we play them? Do you want to do them in succession and talk about the whole weekend, or do you want to go game by game?
Let's start with Carolina.
All right.
And play the clip.
We had real good first. We get the lead, and, they made a push in the second, but I thought we did a lot of good things still. Third period, a lot of the same. I thought we probably backed up a little bit too much in the third and let them come at us. And, then we get the 4-on-4 situation and they pull their goalie. So, they made it interesting. They're good at that. I've seen them do it numerous times where they're going to come no matter the score. And they put pressure on you. So I think we, in the third, I'd like to see our team a little bit more aggressive up ice and not backing in so much and letting them come at us.
It was incredibly reminiscent of Finland, eh? Up 4-0, final 10 minutes, goal. All of a sudden it was like, wait, why is this a hockey game? You were saying that at one point.
Yeah.
Like, why is it close again?
And what do you attribute? Is it just that Carolina woke up, they got the jump on them early? Just it feels like
they did start to get some bounces around there. Some of those, like that one ends up on Slavin's stick, God knows how.
Yeah.
God, I can't escape that.
Yeah, it's part of the part that I didn't like about the Toronto Maple Leafs this weekend. Yeah. That, first of all, what did they score on? Two goals on 2 shots and 4-0 by the first period on like 6 shots. I have no idea, but that Tkachuk there was just like you can't win with that goaltending.
Yeah,
and then I think Carolina actually started playing a little better, and they woke up a little bit, but it was far too late. But once again, pretty good goaltending by Stolarz, and then pretty good goaltending last night against Chicago. And I don't know, you replace those 2 guys with Samsonov or somebody else, and I'm not sure how many points the Leafs would have got this weekend.
Yeah. It is funny. You look at some of these teams like, will Carolina do something before playoffs with how good they are? We'll get to it in the second hour. Will Edmonton do something? Yeah. But it is nice that the Leafs kind of feel secure in both guys. And actually, I kind of felt bad for Stolarz, who played great all game.
Yeah.
But they really hung them out to dry. They had 11 shots in the first, then 9, then 3, the Leafs. So they just, Berube's point, they just stopped playing, stopped going
3
forward.
in the third?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's...
To 15 for Carolina.
Wow.
Yeah.
A bit of score effects there, though, in terms of...
for sure. They're backing up.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's make of it what you will, and if you just want to just throw it to the fact that the guys are coming off an emotional week, and I'm talking about Matthews and Marner, that the secondary scoring helped out a lot. Saturday night, Alex Steeves comes in, scores his first NHL goal, gets multiple points, and secondary scoring followed them into Chicago as well.
Yeah, he's a tough one for me because it wasn't just the goals this weekend that I liked or the offense that I liked. He actually got in on the forecheck really well to turn that puck over. He does, as much as people are excited about this guy, and I hate being like the rain on things guy, what is he going to do in playoffs? Like maybe he's becoming an NHLer and that's the bright spot for him and for whatever, but like I just can't see him.
Wow.
He's not going to be top 6. He's not going to grind in your bottom 6.
No, it's like, again, and I've used this term the last few years, but what is the ask that he goes from half a season in the American Hockey League leading goal scoring,
he's killing it there.
to
come up now and help a team contending for a Stanley Cup to be a integral part of the roster.
Right.
It's like, No, that's not the way it really works.
No,
like
he is showing he could play in the league for a team.
So is he just in a position now where if you need a trade asset, someone could get excited about Alex Steeves and his future and say, I'm willing to take a chance on him, throw him in a package? To me, that makes more sense for the Toronto Maple Leafs where they are right now than to sit there and say, Alex Steeves can be a great contributor right here if we go on a long run this spring.
If you are having a player on your roster who could step into top six if they had to, could play in the bottom six if they had to, just a guy to have around, could you see him if you had to move money out at the deadline and it was Max Domi? Could he fill Max's skates?
No, not for me. No, I can't count on it. Like no. I need some experience. I need some savvy. And regardless of how you feel about the inconsistency of Max Domi scoring, there's a better chance that Max could step up in the playoffs and make major contributions than I feel that Alex Steeves could.
For sure. There's no doubt about it.
I don't think you have to really overthink it too much what he can be for the Leafs here.
Just, hey, good weekend?
Not even that. Like, they're clearly Pacioretty's banged up. You know what you're going to get from Ryan Reeves. Like, there's, Dewar's coming back here. There's word of Yarncroc. You're going to need to have guys that mix in and out of your lineup. And if he plays, 10 more games for you the rest of this year, maybe shoots a few more in the net before you get to the playoffs, it's like, it's fine to have.
Can he help you get some points?
This is exactly what you need from your AHL affiliate, is a guy that can come up and look semi-passable, maybe shoot in the net 2 or 3 times for you, maybe get you enough points to win a game like he did on Saturday night, and away you go. I don't think you need to overthink it. And if a team wants him as a part of a package, yes, of course. But I think it was a nice weekend for him. I mean, scoring
really good.
Great weekend.
You want to play Brube's clip 2 on Alex Steeves.
I thought he was hard in the forecheck. He plays a simple game. He doesn't. It's a simple game. It's direct, and that's what I like about it. And he forechecked well with that line tonight. And he worked hard, did a lot of good things like that, and then he has the ability to score a goal.
I mean, he hit that one hard.
Yeah.
Great shot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I actually think that's a really good point, Sam. It's like, maybe don't overthink it. Just help. He helps you get a couple of points here and there. That's great.
Yep.
But yeah. That's all I got on Steeves.
And Yarncroc is sitting in the wings right now.
I do have something on, like,
Jan Krug.
I have an article today on the Leafs at the trade deadline, and one of my worries is that they're going to sell the fan base on this internal improvement from guys they already have. Like, Yarncroc's going to come back, or Pacioretty's going to come back. I don't trust Pacioretty for a second. To me, he's not on the team. He is obviously on the team, but like, you cannot count on him being there in playoffs, can you? No. And like, is Yarncroc any different? This guy hasn't been able to stay healthy. You don't know where his game's at. I would love for any of these guys to matter, but I'm a little nervous that, teams have made big moves here where.
Oh, don't you worry about that. Like, if anything, this weekend solidified that team cannot win
the Leafs
in the playoffs as is.
They need help.
Oh.
But that's it, Kip. Like, they see these guys out of the lineup, and they're like, wait till Yarncroc plays right wing for a line. It's like, no.
Depth's fine.
Yeah.
Depth is fine.
Yeah.
Everybody needs it. We've always mentioned on this show 8, if not 9, defense that can step in at any given night and not kill you is a must. Yeah. And lots of stuff going on behind the scenes.
Is there any chance my fantasy name that I put in my article, Parayko's available? Could they get weird?
I'm going to update the trade board, my trade board on sportsnet.ca this week.
Stand by.
So moving to Sunday night, I guess, because we talked about Carolina. I think the thing that concerns me most coming out of the Sunday game is the bottom pair for the Leafs with Benoit and Timmins. And I don't have a clip on it or whatever, but if you're talking about going out and getting, like, they are one top 4 injury away from having one of those guys be in the top 4, right? Like, there's no real
Riley, Philippe Myers.
There's no real depth to the Leafs decor right now.
Yeah.
And watching them, I mean, against pretty bad competition.
Luke Shen wouldn't do it either.
No.
In my article today,
I don't think Luke Shen is good enough for what they need.
The Four Nations
lovely.
tournament changed how I feel about the Leafs' priorities. Like watching good D, and I know that's embarrassing that I have to say this and had to see that to say it, but like I know they need another center. They need another D, like a D. Like if you get a guy like Parayko and your pairs are Riley Parayko, McCabe, Tanev, OEL, Benoit, you can win a cup with that D core. You can.
Yeah.
And I don't know that without any addition, and then a guy like Luke Shen, which makes you kind of the same team, and there's an injury along the way, all of a sudden you're going to have Myers, Benoit, Shen, Timmins in at the same time. It's like, to me, that's scarier than not upgrading up front.
You are talking about like one of the best shutdown guys in Parayko.
6'1", or
Right?
sorry, 6'6", 230,
Like-
skates like a dream, has 12 goals,
Loved him in the Four Nations.
only makes 6.5. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know what
Yeah,
I'm talking about.
It's a nice wish list.
Well, it's where
I
where
just-
you're building from.
I'm
That's,
waiting-
I just don't know how realistic that is
Yeah,
for Leaf
probably
fans
not at
right
all.
now.
probably not at all.
Right? But yeah, that's a
Just
game changer.
just watching him
Right?
break pucks out,
That's
skate
a
up the ice,
game
slap
changer.
the puck. Yeah, it changes things significantly.
Third line last night.
Nick Robertson.
Nick Robertson, Max
Hey.
Domi, and Bobby McMahon. I think we have a clip.
They've
from the
had
coach on it.
success.
Yeah, on the third line. Clip 6, please, Derek.
Yeah, they were real good tonight. I thought Max, I thought was on pucks, making good plays with the puck. Robbie was driving the net, scored a nice goal. They got a power play goal. And Bobby was doing what he does. He skates, gets on top of people, creates turnovers. That line was really good for us. I thought all the lines were solid tonight. You know, they all did what they needed to do to get the win.
Toronto Maple Leafs in first place.
I don't know. Like, good on him and good on Nick for 2 goals. But they played last night one of the worst teams.
That team
They
Just
stink.
Can I ask you guys a question
Okay.
about them?
Yeah.
When are they going to be half decent?
You know what's concerning
No.
is who's coming? Like
Nobody.
Levshinov
Nothing.
No.
Nothing.
and
Okay.
how do they not have more assets?
But it's hard to really like judge that line against that team last night. I'm sorry, but it's like Division II hockey.
But that's where a guy like Nick Robertson is going to thrive. And we've been saying that. He's like meant to be on a team that can like
So as good as they were last night, do you envision them winning 2 rounds in the Stanley Cup playoffs or helping you win 2 rounds?
no. Bobby McMahon, yes. Bobby McMahon was awesome last night. In the forecheck, getting first touches, moving the puck around. He was excellent.
But you mentioned, you're playing against bad competition, but Kyper Domi has had a lot of off nights against bad competition too this year. So I think you have to kind of take the good nights where you can get them. And I thought he was really good.
Really good.
Like he was
Good
skating,
jump.
and he blows by Seth Jones, like who had a big
Yeah.
head start on him, and then he goes swimming a little bit on the goal to get right at the end of the second period. But you need to take the positive nights with Max Domi and hope that he can build on it. And I thought he was really good, passing it,
Yep.
fired one right off the post. Like he really did have some jump. So
Do you at all feel like you don't know what Max Domi is at this point, though?
no,
Okay.
but I mean, Kipper can answer the question better than me, but I think you just need to have him be confident that he feels like he's part of it and feels like he's feeling good. Like, I mean, what were they saying on the broadcast? That he scored 3 goals in 3 straight games, and those are the only 3
Yeah.
games he scored a goal in all year. It's
I've
like,
always
that's
had
crazy.
him as a guy that could move up and down, but never really a guy that you're going to sit there and lock in on a top 6.
Yeah.
That's all. Right? He's a depth guy for me.
Yeah, which is
But
most of those depth guys are like, all right,
the
we'll start him
problem
in the
is,
D zone, put him against a good
He-
line.
he's really good if you have enough depth.
Mhm.
But when you don't have enough depth, he gets blamed for a big part of not being good enough at the depth role. And the fact that he's making almost $4 million a year
Yeah.
is like now playing against him.
Definitely.
So that's the issue here. I on a great year,
Yeah.
maybe he can score you 45, 50 points. And then on a tough year, maybe it's 30.
Yeah, I think that's all fair. Like he's but I think that's relevant to note when someone can't do it without help. When you're like, yeah, if you have enough other guys who are good, that player can be good. You want more guys that can make other players good.
What did he make last year? It was a 1-year contract, was
Just
it?
3 even.
3 even, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot different of a perception on that contract, right?
Well,
than
the
it is
years,
now.
I think.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I mean. Like, he got the longest commitment from Treliving after that month that he had where he was really, really hot. And I was happy about the contract, but it hasn't been perfect this year for him, to say the least.
No. Any concerns at all that Austin Matthews has not scored a goal against a goalie in 9 games now?
Yeah.
Nine. Oh, yeah, including the Four Nations. Yeah, he didn't score the Four Nations. Bennington would like a word with him on that one. God,
right?
He just must haunt his dreams. Anyways, no, you're right. It's a long time.
Like,
I mean, all year.
how'd you find him on the weekend?
Just like that. All the sounds I made right there.
Yeah.
Mid.
Yeah. Like he has been 15% less dangerous than last year every game, from start of the year and injuries. And, I might even be underselling the percentage on that. So, yeah, no, it's a big concern. You need him to be the guy. It's encouraging the game against Canada, like seeing like, okay, it's there still. But, yeah, you don't see it as often.
Yeah, he was dangerous in the championship game.
Super dangerous.
He was dangerous, and that's kind of the guy that you got used to when he was scoring 60 and 70 goals.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that really struck me all season long is that he was by far and away the greatest guy on the planet for catch and release. Like his shot on a split second where he's able to grab the puck, drag it, find those seams to beat a defender's ankle and then go under the bar, or just all of that to shoot the puck.
Snap it.
Catch and release is the best way I could describe the way he could score goals. It's just like almost non-existent now.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I don't have time, but I will look this up while we're on the air. But in previous years, and I want to say last year, he was actually sneaky high up the charts in hits. Like I want to say he had like 4 hits a game or per 60 or whatever it was. And this year it's way down. Like I know his physicality is down. I haven't looked in a long time, and I'm going to look, and I'll mention it after the break here. But that for me is not as physical.
The only thing I can come up with is like he's just not mentally, physically 100%. And I don't know which one it falls on more.
Physically, for sure. I mean, he flew to Germany. We forget about that.
I know.
He missed lots of hockey.
I know.
Right, 1 second.
So, it's he was pretty lifeless for most of the weekend. And I thought specifically against Chicago, they had one good shift in the offensive zone where they kind of cycled at him, Nyes and Marner. But I don't think, I don't think I had the concern about Marner because, he had a good tournament and he's going to come off it.
He's fourth in league scoring.
Yeah, he's been good. I do worry about Matthews a bit.
So last year, Matthews averaged 3.14 hits per 60. The year before, 3.11 hits per 60. This year, it's 1.6.
Wow.
That's a big
massive
drop off.
Massive.
That's a big mess.
And, whether that's physical or mental or whatever, it's real. So it's something that is different about it.
I didn't like that he missed the tune-up game to Thursday's championship for USA.
Yeah. See, you and I differ on that because I think he's genuinely trying to rest something.
No, that's my point.
Yeah.
That he missed it because he's trying to cover something up that's bothering him.
Yeah. Do you think it would be best if he took 3 weeks off right now?
I think they tried it, and the unfortunate part is that I think they tried it and it didn't necessarily work.
So it's almost like
I don't know.
It could immediately come back and get hurt again. So why not just keep playing? It probably needs off-season surgery.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that is, but he's not the same guy that we've been accustomed to seeing.
No, you see it in glimmers, but not consistently.
I mean, when is the time this year where I guess kind of after the second absence, he came back and he was pretty
6 and
good.
7.
Pardon?
He scored 6 goals in like 7 games.
He was hot.
Something
and
like
he
that.
Looked like himself.
He
and
looked
then it,
a little bit more. Yeah.
And then it kind of went back. So.
And then it kind of went back. But the jump and the shot and the ability to get it and let it go, where we are all going like, oh my God, that shot is amazing.
And everything is built on the 4 of them, right? Like they can't have one guy not there, one guy bad.
So you mentioned, I don't know how long ago this was when we were talking about this, but does that change your outlook on how good they can actually be this season in terms of how they address the deadline and what they look to actually give up?
The only reason I say it doesn't change how they address the deadline is because he's your number 1 centerman.
Yeah.
He's your 1C. You're not going to get a better player than him.
Yeah.
So you're never going to just like go get a different 1C. So he's the 1C. You just have to hope he's healthier and better.
He's 100% right that you're just hoping that he wakes up tomorrow and you see that
got a little more range of motion today.
That threat is back on a consistent basis, and the energy's back, and the jump is back, and the catch and release is back, and you're still gonna trade or push this team harder than they've ever been pushed in 10 years because this is the break year for everybody.
Well, and the thing I wrote in my article today is that it's not just about the Leafs. It's look around. Pre-pandemic, Tampa Bay had a season with 128 points. Boston, 3 years ago, 135 points. 2 years ago, Florida, 114. Like, there's no one like that. Florida's on pace for 100. Tampa's on pace for 99.
Yeah.
So it's not just that the Leafs have a chance. They're the same. They're as good as they've been, but no one else is as good as they've been. So if you finish first in the division this year, you probably draw Detroit or Ottawa. If you finish second, you draw Florida or Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and there's no
big swing.
There's no question to me which one of those outcomes is better, although the Senators thing could be interesting. But if I could pick one team in the entire league to have a playoff series against, it would probably be Detroit.
Yeah.
Like, truly. Like, I think that's a team that they've shown they've had no problems with. And, I mean, you can clip this one, Detroit, if it comes back and haunts me.
This is the thing. It's like they're obviously not as good as the teams we're talking about.
100%.
So, you're fair to say it.
Okay, we'll take a quick break.
Let's do it.
And when we return, we'll keep going on our Leaf Hour edition of our program, The Leafs' Biggest Need. You've got an article out on sportsnet.ca. I want to get into that. You broke it down into a few different categories, including wants and needs. So we'll get that going when we return to Real Kyper and Bourne. Welcome back into the program. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. A reminder, this hour of Real Kyper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365. How about that lengthy offside challenge in, can we just get this over with? Time of the game.
Yeah.
Last night, Leafs in Chicago.
That was tough. Tough sledding. After watching the Four Nations with no challenges in particular.
That in itself was a minor miracle.
Buddy, there were no penalties.
No penalties.
They didn't call any penalties
and
the
no
whole tournament.
Challenges.
One penalty
in the final game.
Like, clear trip, had to call it. Rest of there, nothing else.
With the attention of that game Thursday night, leading right back into the White House. Yeah. Can you imagine if there was a controversial offside or goaltender interference?
Thank God it went the way it did.
Bringing back a U.S. goal to keep the overtime going.
Oh, Trump would have declared that
Fake
Stop
news.
The
steal. Stolen. Trophy. Rigged.
You would have had Elon make a meme about it.
And then we go right back to this horrific delay.
Now, I just want to say, I actually love that counted. I love, because technically, Tavares doesn't touch it once it's over. So it's like he's put it in.
Are you sure? No one's sure.
No, definitely not.
No one's sure.
No, I'm not. But I kind of love the logic of it.
It's just because he didn't think he did. If he would have called it offside, it would have stood offside. It was up to the official because I don't think video's that good.
No, it's not. It reminded me, do you guys remember the Cale Makar one that started some of this? Mm-hmm. Yeah, years ago in playoffs, I think.
You watched that play 100 times. You guys have played hockey your whole lives. That's offside. It's offside.
Yeah, it's offside to me too.
It's 100% offside. That puck.
I'll grant you by the spirit of offside, it's offside.
And shout out Mike Johnson all over it. Right away, he called it. He said, hey, this is the Cale Makar thing. He was right all over it. But watched it 100 times, and I can't convince my hockey brain that that's not offside.
You know, it's like if Tavares were stopped at the blue line and put the puck in the zone this much and let Willie come out and tag, and then he touched it, that's onside.
Yeah, okay.
And that's kind of the idea, is that he doesn't touch it, but he's trying to touch it. He just doesn't get there in time. So by the spirit, it's like,
Can we get rid of it somehow, some way? Or is it just, it's over?
I think time limits are best bet.
Kipper, you talk to people. Has there any momentum with the league to be like, we got to put a time limit on this?
The only thing with the time
No.
limit is like, when does
No.
it start? Do they have the
Because-
replays they need?
Because they only feel that would compromise their ability to
Get it right.
get it right.
Which is the point.
So if you're going to put a time limit on it, you might as well not have it.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's not
2 minutes is fine to
it's
me.
not beat the clock.
Well,
It should be.
Prizes for the referees if they get it
Do
within
you see
10
MLB?
seconds.
They're testing the strike zone, and they're making the umps call balls and strikes, and then embarrassing them when they're wrong. What is the point of that?
I hate that.
Let the robots call it then.
either have it be that they're still calling balls and strikes, and I don't know why we're doing this right now, but I'll say it. Have them say strike or stoot, and then go to the board. Like the guy has to be like, challenge. That was not a strike, and then they
Right.
go up and they do the tennis thing.
Right.
That's the only system that could potentially work.
But it's just like, let the robot do it, and then
I've
have
already-
the guy do safe and out.
I'm already picturing in my head things I'd rather do than watch that.
what it includes? Cut the
Just
grass.
Cut the grass, go into the fridge, organize my sock drawer,
Anyways,
condition my hair.
I was definitely predicting Derek to hit me with that guy. Sammy, no more baseball.
No more baseball.
All right, so where do you want to start on your Sportsnet.ca article?
So just, the quick perusal was, for me, Parayko is the right fit. Domi's money is probably one place they might look to. My concern is about them
Yeah.
justifying the internal sort of help. I'm worried that they're not going to think big enough. And this is the year where you have a chance with all these guys around. So where are you at?
I who wouldn't love Parayko?
Yeah.
And my first thought is, what would you be willing to give up?
All of
and
it?
Like Minton and Cowan.
Sure, done deal.
Pick up the phone and start dialing.
Yeah, Minton. But you've got to move money out,
Yeah.
right? It's just not about.
And they wouldn't retain.
You know,
'cause
would
it's
you
a
give up
long deal.
McMahon? Would McMahon and the prospect?
So a lot of
Would you give up Nyes and a prospect?
absolutely not.
Well, then you'd rather have Nyes than Parayko.
Yeah. No, that's not true. I would rather have Nyes and whatever.
No.
Yes.
But
No, don't
if
separate.
you had to go in the first round,
Yes.
and I'm giving you the choice of starting a series with Nyes or Parayko,
Mm-hmm.
who would give you the better chance to get out of the first round?
Parayko.
Then why wouldn't you trade Nyes?
Because can we do Nyes for Parayko? Fine.
That's what I'm saying.
It-
Nyes plus.
Oh, well, I
Right?
didn't say that.
Listen, Parayko's value has never been higher.
true.
Doug Armstrong will hit a home run with this guy.
Yeah.
These are the names that he wants to hear out of the Toronto Maple
No,
Leafs.
because for me, it's like the Leafs are trying. We're not taking off roster guys. Parayko, that doesn't even help with the money. Nyes doesn't make any money. So for me, it's, can you give them the prospects?
What-
He's talked about having 5 firsts on the way.
I got to think that if Doug Armstrong gets those type of players or
Yeah.
prospects, or like a roster player plus a prospect, like he'll take money on. He'll take maybe a Max Domi, or he'll take
Right.
a Kampf.
Yeah,
He'll-
now you're
he'll-
talking.
He'll balance the money out.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, like, if Bobby McMahon has to be part of it, it's
Yes. Yeah.
no question.
Yeah.
Like, that is a no question. I love Bobby
How
McMahon.
about new?
Oh my God, it's so loud. No question. I love him. Been a huge contributor to the Leafs this year. I've even called him an X factor at times. But if they're like, Bobby McMahon's the key to this deal outside of the prospects, it's like, yeah, I'll get the Uber
Tough
to
to
the
see.
airport.
Tough to see that happening, though, right? Like being McMahon's age. Parayko, there is just the concern, I think, that teams will probably bring up in these conversations, that he is older. He
Had back issues.
had back issues. You're not sure. The one thing that I think is comforting is his salary is 6'5". The cap's about to go to the moon. You're fine with
Yeah.
that on your second pair.
Yeah.
You also like the fact that he's 6'6" and 230 pounds, rangy.
Did the Leafs have 12 goals from their D combined this year?
It's a great question.
Did last night help at all with Tanev?
Yeah, 2 of them.
Yeah, he has-
Tanev and McCabe last night.
McCabe?
Yeah, he has 13 goals this year. 13 goals, 17 assists for 30 points this year. Parayko.
Yeah, that's sneaky good.
Yes,
That's
it is.
really good. That's got to
not-
be top
not-
5 in D goals.
Not Jacob Chikrin good, but oh my God, that guy's on fire.
What's he got? He's just shooting in the
I
net
think
every
he's
chance.
19th last night, maybe.
Wow.
But so yeah, that's an ideal scenario for the
Should
Leafs.
we
But what else?
listen to the coach on McCabe and Tanev, who both scored last night?
Sure, let's do that.
Just defended well. I mean, they defend well. Block shots, simple plays with the puck. And then they're in good position to be in the offensive side of things and be plus players. So, but it starts in our end with those guys, just how hard they are to play against. And, they have such good chemistry together and are so connected with each other, making little plays and moving the puck well. But it's a dirty work that they do with physical play, the blocking the shots, defending in front of our net. They're very good at it.
The blocking shots is, to me, like I've never seen it before.
With Tanev.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
McCabe had 5 last night.
it's very seldom he's not standing where he shouldn't be.
Like, you have to think he'd have been a
he's just-
legitimately good goalie. Like, to know how to get in the way that much, he probably would have been a pretty good goalie.
He's
It's a
gotta
great
be
point.
like the angles that he takes or the lines that
We
he
have to read
stands
plays.
in to read it, to shortest distance between 2 points, that all that geometry, like
Yeah.
he must have batted 1,000 in high school.
I imagine the goaltenders like him quite a bit. I'm pretty sure they're pretty grateful to have him out there. So, Sammy was saying, could have seen him on Team
Between the
Canada.
goaltending and that type of work, it really is the story of the Toronto Maple Leafs right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, their captain has not had his best season. Tavares is, getting older. Not to take away from everyone, but the reason they've had as much success as previous years is they're getting better D and goaltending. Well, better goaltending, really.
Well, and a way better top pair than they've had in this era with Tanev and McCabe.
Yeah.
They haven't had this type of. So that's, to go back to your Parayko thing, that's why if you could add another legit impact defenseman, you have 2 real pairs.
Well, and then you have to think of, like, what are the D groups who've won the Cup recently? And you go through that. Vegas team was loaded. The Avalanche traded for Josh Manson the 1 year, and that set them up, and they were loaded on the back end. Like, Florida last year was maybe not quite as good, but good.
Yeah.
Typically, these teams that win cups, really good back there.
And probably like you're waiting for Matthews to kind of light it up again. You wait for Morgan Riley.
Yep. Yeah, sure. He's got more to give, too. I know you didn't think he had the best weekend, right?
No. But I think he had it going pretty well before Nations.
Yeah, he was good on that road trip.
Yep, he's good on the road trip.
We got to give some credit here to Mitch Marner. We got to give him a little love. They announced that they're having a baby,
Oh, yeah.
and it's not going to be in season, right? How great is that?
Important.
Could help with the potential move,
Oh.
summer move.
Yeah, makes it all lines up. That's how hockey players are supposed to plan it out. That's well done. So,
Yeah, I saw some stuff about Marner's contract being talked about on Twitter today.
yeah.
That's coming around again. Anything? Hear anything? Getting close?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I think I think there's a feeling of, again, there's so many dynamics to being a UFA right now that, even Rantanen or Marchand. Did you hear Don Sweeney's quote on Marchand?
No.
Just, I don't know. Can you dig it up? It was,
Sure.
he finished his last sentence with basically Marchand's, I'm paraphrasing, but he's going to have to kind of make a decision, or he'll come to a conclusion I'm not doing it justice because I can't remember it, but it was he kind of left it open-ended.
Yeah. Is this will address the Brad one? So everybody's a little bit in the same boat at this point in time, but it's that it's unlikely that we'll move forward with things other than maybe Brad's, but you never know because obviously it takes one phone call and things can change around. Is that the one?
No.
Okay.
No,
sorry.
I think there was another one. But regardless, it's probably even more complex today for Marchand moving forward than it was even before the Four Nations tournament because
I've got another one here.
they're dropping bodies. McAvoy now Lindholm out for the rest of the year. What happened?
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
The defenseman.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, they're done.
Yeah.
They're done.
Done.
McAvoy and Lindholm are done. See you later.
Like a Burger King Whopper with grill marks on their ass. Done.
Wow.
That's always been my ultimate goal. Sweeney responded to a question about wanting Marchand to be a lifelong Bruins player. We've been in negotiations with Brad and communicating with him throughout the year. We'll have to have a conversation now that the Four Nations is over and sit down with Brad and his representatives and have a clear path in the next 2 weeks on to what his final outcome will be. That the one you're looking for?
Yeah, I am. What his final outcome will be.
20 goals and 45 points this season. Still pretty damn good.
Anyways, the question was about Mitch Marner and if he was close to signing a contract because it's the Leafs hour. I know.
They're trying to get 11 days quietly gone here, all right? Move this along. UFA.
I've always read the tea leaves as that this isn't just about money. It's about the fit moving forward, not only for Mitch Marner, but for the Leafs as well. Like heaven forbid this team gets knocked out in the first round again.
Yeah.
Who's going to be happy that Mitch Marner's signed an 8-year deal? Not you, Sammy, who plugged your nose at it.
Yeah, I still signed it. Would you, any indication or any thought on where he would like other than Toronto? Ever hear anything?
I haven't.
No.
Why?
I just wonder. Like, I just nowhere's going to be able to give him as much. His hometown. I don't know. I know
that's not true.
I know the relationship.
That's not true that no one could give him more money.
Well, I guess it's the years. You can give him more years here. So, like, is someone going to give him 15, 16, I guess, in the open market? Like, I don't know.
That 8th year is overrated.
Okay.
If they get the sense that he wants to go UFA, any chance they'd trade him?
0.
Yeah.
They can't.
No.
Full no move.
Yeah.
Unless he wanted to set up a sign and trade, which ain't happening.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
So, no, with Rantanen and the rest of them, I think Sam Bennett's another one as well. Like, seems that these guys are in the driver's seat.
Feels like Rantanen's definitely going to get traded again. They said they made a big offer to him. He's mulling it over, but he hasn't. It doesn't look like it's going great.
No.
And they're a pretty smart management team there. I can't see them just
really
seeing him
I've got
walk
them
away.
the opposite of really smart.
I know. All the Neanderthals do.
I will say, you mentioned Sam Bennett.
Are they like Jake Gensel smart too?
What's that?
Were they really
We do
smart
not
with
agree.
Jake Gensel last year?
They didn't have to give him they didn't have to trade a first-round pick to get him, so that was pretty smart.
Yeah.
I liked the Sam Bennett cheering for experience.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
That was enjoyable. I'd like to do that again.
That'd be fun.
All right. We just picked apart the league a little bit. We'll get into more details when we return at the top of the hour. Ren Lavoie will join us, hockey reporter for TVA. He's got a thing or two to say about Matthew Tkachuk. And we'll talk about his injury and how nervous are the Florida Panthers right now with no Matthew Tkachuk. I'll talk about the word on the street on this guy as well, what the actual injury is.
Okay.
All right, don't go away. Real Kyper and Bourne. With the Four Nations face-off in the rearview mirror, we are right back in the thick of things in the National Hockey League. Welcome into the Real Kyper and Bourne show. This is our national hour. We are live on Sportsnet 650 in Vancouver. Sportsnet 960 in Calgary. This hour of Real Kyper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. In a few minutes, we'll welcome in Ren Lavoie, hockey reporter for TVA Sports. Lots of talk around the National Hockey League as we wrapped up our Leaf Edition hour. We got into a few things, including Matthew Tkachuk's injury. Paul Maurice spoke on that, and we'll get to Renault to dive a little deeper into it. But some teams paid a hefty price for a lot of fun during the Four Nations tournament. But did anyone pay a bigger price than maybe the Florida Panthers with Matthew Tkachuk out? What we believe may be a long-term situation. I can tell you that the word on the street is he tore a groin. To what degree, we don't know. I don't know. There are partial tears. There's partial tears. There's complete ruptures. There's first grade, which could cost you 2 to 3 weeks. There's a second grade that could cost you maybe 2 months.
What's the one that costs you 7 weeks and gets you to playoffs game 1?
Grade 3, baby.
April 19th.
Yeah, I think
Grade 3's.
call it a hunch.
Grade 3's 4 months possibly.
Oh, jeez.
So, I don't know. I hope the tournament was worth it for Florida Panthers.
Oh, maybe not for them.
Florida Panthers sent
They're fans.
most of their team. They sent 8 players to that event. So they had the highest risk. And, yeah, I'm sure looking around at Ottawa, Detroit sent 0.
Do you think
Ottawa sent 3.
Do you think playing in that game, like that it was already really bad before he played in that game on the
What did
final?
he play, 5 minutes?
I think it was just
6?
over 6, yeah.
Just over 6?
Didn't play after the first period.
You couldn't find 2 more emotional guys than the brothers, right? And Matthew and Brady. And, I probably went a little over the top last week, when I mentioned that it was a little selfish of him. But
listen, Kyper, let's not judge each other on what we said last week. Last week was an emotional time.
I like Matthew.
Yeah.
Brady's learning how to control his emotions and be a leader. I think there's lots of growth there for him too. 2 guys I would love to have on a hockey club, but in hindsight, not a chance Matthew Tkachuk should have played Thursday night.
Well, hey, there are injuries that you can't injure further by playing with them. And then there's groins, which is the complete opposite of that.
Yeah.
That's like any getting up from a chair too fast, miming a golf swing while talking to a friend. I mean, it can get worse at any time. It's the definition of an injury that needs rest and needs to heal before you push it again. So I'm sure Tkachuk was not cooperative with the medical staff, but ideally the medical staff would say, you have a groin injury. We can't have you playing. You can't play.
Yeah.
But then I guess it's not your player.
The emotion,
did you see
passion, something took over.
Sullivan after the game said that, he's their emotional leader. We wanted to have, even if he couldn't go, we wanted to have him on the bench. I'm sure Paul Maurice is like, oh, did you?
Yeah.
Did you want to have him out there?
Also in the press box, Kyle Connor is just like playing mini sticks. Ting, ting. Could have been out there helping.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Good player.
Connor's so good.
Connor.
He's so good. By the way, Jet Stock time. What a hockey team. They've won 9 straight games. I believe that's plural.
Yeah.
Love Morrissey. Love Connor. Hellebuck is best goalie. This team has a very real Stanley Cup chance this year.
83 points from 57 games this year for them.
They are humming. No one even close.
And they're looking.
I think
they're looking for depth too, right?
yeah, they'll get better. The deadline here, they'll add a little something. I think only Washington is anywhere near them for the President's Trophy, if I'm not mistaken. Wow, they are buzzing.
Brock Nelson. You think he's going to sign in
Love
New
that
York?
for them.
What is he? Minnesota? Where is he? He's
from War Road, I think, isn't he? He's a Minnesota guy.
He's close.
Yeah, that counts.
It's like home.
That. Sure, home-esque. Yeah, that would work. I would love that for Winnipeg. Anyway.
All right. Waiting on Ren Lavoie to join us. Sammy, we got him, or we're setting him up? All right. We'll give him a few seconds to get settled in, and then we'll bring him in.
We got him.
Rennie, how are you, buddy?
I'm really good, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you. You know that.
Did you catch your breath on the weekend, or did the NHL schedule not allow that?
NHL schedule doesn't allow it, and it was, you know what? It was a good thing. I was in Ottawa for the Senators and the Canadiens game, and I'm telling you, it was a really good hockey game. The pace of that game was unbelievable, especially in the first period. I like the way the Montreal Canadiens played in that game. Obviously, there's tons of injuries right now with the Ottawa Senators, which is an issue. But my understanding is quite everyone could be back Wednesday for their next game Wednesday. I believe that the majority of the injured players are going to be back, which is a good news. So we'll see how the Senators are going to play between now and the end of the season. Hopefully, they're going to make the playoffs, and for the Montreal Canadiens, hopefully they're still going to battle for it. That's the hope right now.
Rennie, you touched on injuries. Let's start with the injuries coming out of Four Nations face-off here. Yeah. Before we get into specifics on players or what's happening with their respective clubs, where do you think we are in terms of moving forward here on the intensity and in the future putting guys at risk to come out of the next 25 games of the remainder of the season? You think clubs will be comfortable moving forward with the risks? Will the players be comfortable with the risks? What are your thoughts coming out of this thing?
Well, you know what? One thing for sure, this was an NHL event, the Four Nations face-off. An NHL event, the players were involved emotionally, physically. Some of them are injured. My understanding is even before, the games on Monday, so a week ago, I had a report that there's a lot of injured players on teams that are playing that tournament. But at the same time, it's an NHL tournament. So the NHL and the NHLPA are going to share the money that they made during that tournament, and my belief is they're happy. They made a lot of money during that tournament, which is a good thing. My concern is next year. I understand that the players wants to go to the Olympics, but the bottom line is you need to shut down the season for 2 weeks and a half. Some players are going to come back injured again. And for what? What what is the NHL getting in return? Like nothing. And I understand, and that the players wants to go. They wants to play in the Olympics, and I agree with them. That's the thing to do. But if you're on the on the NHL side, if you're owner of or GM, you wonder why we're going to Italy, and I can understand to be honest with you that both sides in this matter. I don't like to see players going down during a tournament for. A bunch of time. I really don't like it because at the end of the day, 10 days of really good hockey and like we had is fantastic, but there's the reality after that. The bubble is over. The bubble burst, and now we're looking at what's going on around the league right now, and we're like, that was fun, but what's the impact in the long run? And that's a question that a lot of people are asking right now.
You know, me personally, Rennie, I feel like the impact in the long run is going to be a good one. I feel like there's a lot of positive buzz around hockey, which is nice to have. But I get your point about the season, about teams, about ownership. And so this year, I'll ask you, what are you hearing on this Matthew Tkachuk thing? Because as someone who follows the Leafs, that's pretty relevant.
It is relevant, really relevant. And it's in a way, you have to wonder why he played that last game. I would have preferred to see, other players in the lineup than him. And if he's saying, "I want to be there, I want to play, or I want to be with the guys," okay, no problem. Be on the bench, be a coach. Be a guy who's gonna, tell a few things to your teammates and try to motivate them if they need any motivation. I don't think so, but anyway, be there, okay, but in a suit, and let Kyle Connor play. That's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing, I think Paul Maurice today on the radio was crystal clear. He's going to miss some time. Hopefully, he's going to be back at 1 point. Yeah, 1 point could be the playoffs. But what I reported on Saturday during the game is, the rumbling right now and the concern right now in Florida is that he could miss the rest of the season. That his season could be over. I didn't report that he's not going to play during the playoffs. I just talk about the possibility that his season is over. There's still a window. There's still a chance that it won't be the case. But it was a concern on Saturday for the Panthers management. Now there was some other tests today. Hopefully, the results are going to be positive for him and for the Panthers. Fingers crossed. No one wants to see Matthew Tkachuk out for a long time. This is not something good for the game. I think the game is better with Matthew Tkachuk in the lineup.
Yeah.
So hopefully, things are going to be good for him. Maybe he's going to miss, I don't know, a couple of weeks. If it's the rest of the season, it will be the rest of the season. But hopefully, he'll be ready for the playoffs.
Suspected groin tear
Yeah.
is what I heard. You getting those same rumblings?
Yeah. It's so that happened Saturday night in Montreal, right? So that's close to what now? 10 days ago. I don't understand why he played on Thursday. And he practiced on Wednesday. I saw him practice. He was only able to push on one leg. I understand. I understand. The guy wants to win. They want to be there for their country and all this, but you're putting your body in jeopardy here. And probably, the chances for him to make it even worse were really low, but still, it's not a good look. Let's put it this way.
You're watching and listening to Ren Lavoie from TVA and NHL Network as a correspondent. Did you hear lots of talk between teams during the Four Nations? Was it quiet? Is it picked up as early as this weekend? What's the latest you're hearing? And as we close in on a major trade deadline day.
Yeah, it's coming, huh? It's right there in front of us. I think it was a quiet deadline, to be honest. Not a quiet deadline, but a quiet Four Nation tournament. The GMs they had time to make some phone calls, but the real question here is who's a seller and who's not, right? Look at the Montreal Canadiens right now. Are they ready to pull the trigger and say this season is over? No, not really. They want to see what's going to happen tomorrow night against the Hurricanes, and on Thursday the Sharks are in Montreal, and after that they're traveling to Buffalo for a game on Saturday in Buffalo, and on Monday in Montreal against the Sabres again. These 4 games are huge for the Montreal Canadiens. Another thing here is Kent Hughes. Let's say a team is asking for Christian Dvorak. Hey, I'm going to give you a 5th round pick. No, I'm not going to take a 5th round pick. Not even a 4th round pick. If that's the price that you're giving me, he's staying. The Montreal Canadiens, they have enough picks right now. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Canadiens are going to do. Hopefully they're going to win all their games and they're going to go to the deadline with some confidence. And if they're not in, maybe 2 points back and say, you know what, we're not going to trade for rental players because we have, in a way, rental players with Dvorak, with David Savard, with Armia, with Jake Evans. These are rental type of players that are already in the Montreal Canadiens lineup. But if they lose the majority of their next games, what's going to happen with Jake Evans if there's no extension for him? And obviously, there's a lot of teams looking at him right now, hoping that he's going to be available. What is it going to cost? A 1st round pick? Really? I don't believe so. Is it going to be more a 2nd round pick? If it's a 2nd round pick, I believe that Kent Hughes is going to listen. But if we're talking about a 4th round pick or a 5th round pick, I believe the Canadiens again are going to say, you know what, we're going to finish the season with Jake Evans, and it's going to give us more time to resolve his contract issues, and we'll see what's next for him. So I think that everyone needs to have an open mind right now, and if the Canes are thinking this way, there's probably a good majority of other teams are looking at the standing like the Boston Bruins. Are they sellers or buyers? That's not a big question. And I believe that if they're sellers, what's going to happen with their captain, Brad Marchand? Kyper, I won't rule out the possibility that Brad Marchand is not going to finish the season with the Bruins, even if my understanding is he doesn't want to go anywhere.
So let's talk a little bit more about that. There's a cluster of teams there with the Montreal Canadiens, Detroit, Ottawa, Columbus, Boston, the Rangers, the Islanders, and Philly are all kind of in a little pack there. It's funny, the Bruins are 1 point out of a playoff spot, and we on this show, before you came on, said they're missing the playoffs. Like, they're without McAvoy, they're without Lindholm. If that's the case, do you expect Sweeney to get active and move? They have some very appealing assets, from Trent Frederick to Brandon Carlo, Charlie Coyle. There's good players there.
Really good players. Really good players. We were mentioning Brad Marchand as a possibility. Let's say the Oilers are calling for Brad Marchand. What do you do? And if you're Brad Marchand, what do? You have a chance to go win a Stanley Cup in Edmonton with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Come on. I'm pumped just thinking about it. So the reality is, yes, the Boston Bruins, they have a lot of assets, and I don't believe that they're far away of being, really good contender eventually. Is it a retool on the fly? That maybe, I don't know. But at the end of the day, goaltending wise, they're good. They have a really good decor. What's missing is probably a little more firepower up front. So if you can get rid of some salaries, open some cap space next year, the cap's going to go higher next season. You're looking at a possibility that the Boston Bruins are going to be relevant again, but they need to make the right decision. I believe July 1st, what they did was a big mistake, big mistake. You can't repeat a mistake like this one.
Rennie, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, for Vancouver Canuck fans, what the heck's going on with Petey? Elias Pettersson has not been exactly shot out of a cannon since the tournament ended here. How healthy is he? Is there a chance these trade rumors could start up again, or are we past that with less than 2 weeks to go?
You know what, Kyper? I'm looking at him right now. I'm looking at the Canucks. We're talking about a young player here, okay? Who's supposed to be a better player than he's showing right now. Okay, we all know that. Is it time to panic? Is it time to say, you know what? We need to turn the page on him too. Already JT Miller was traded to the Rangers. If you're traded him, I think it's going to be a big blow for this franchise. I don't believe that there's a lot of team excited about him. I'm not saying that there's not there probably someone out there who's saying, you know what, I'm gonna give you a high pick, and I'm gonna give you maybe a prospect that you're gonna like. But I believe that he's a better player than that. And if I'm the Canucks, I don't think I'm trading him before the deadline. That being said, during the summer, you need to see what's out there. You need to listen for offers that are going to be better than what they can get between now and Friday next week. So let's wait and see what's going to happen. But I don't believe it's going to be traded.
So we've been giving you sort of a cross-Canada test here, but the one other team I need to hear you on is just the Oilers. You mentioned, like, hey, Brad Marchand, an interesting name for them. Stuart Skinner's name, kind of, I see it on Twitter these days, is, hey, is he going to be good enough for them? What do you expect the aggressiveness level will be out of Edmonton?
That's a really good question. And you need to understand one thing. Stuart Skinner is a beloved player.
He is.
Right? And he's a goalie that he's a special person, and he's a friendly person, and he's a guy that his teammates like to be around him. So you need to be really careful here, because you can mess with chemistry, and that's something that you don't want to see, honestly. And I understand that right now for the Oilers, things are not trending in the right direction, and it's in a way understandable. That was not a great weekend, but is it the end of the world? No, I believe that they can do a lot of damages still, and if they get a guy like, I'm gonna repeat, Brad Marchand or Marchand type of player, I think everyone's gonna be excited again, and everyone's going to say, you know what, here we go. We're going to make that push. And I don't think that it's going to, the chemistry inside that room is going to collapse. It's a big problem, but goaltending needs to be better, and it will. We've seen it before. They went to the Stanley Cup final, and I did that mistake by saying, oh, Oilers goaltending is awful. They're going to collapse during the playoffs. They went to the Stanley Cup final in Game 7. So I wouldn't make that moves.
Continuing the buzz on maybe a potential Brad Marchand, but nobody's really talking about Evander Kane, or where is he, or how close is he going to come? Like, why, where is he? What is going on there?
That's a really good point.
Hey, you know how it is. So the trade deadline's going to go. It's going to pass. He's going to still be there. Hey, probably there's a good chance he's going to play game 1 of the playoffs. What do you say about it? It's still legal.
With Marchand in the lineup as well.
Oh my God!
Why not? Hey, by the way,
what a deep pair.
Like I said, Brad, he was laughing at all the rumors when we talked to him during the Four Nation face-off, and he said, "I'm not going anywhere, and it's all right." And it's totally understandable, and it's his right. But at the end of the day, is he gonna still be a Bruin next year? I'm not sure that he's gonna be a Bruins next year.
Great stuff as always, Rennie. You got anything else?
I just, Don Sweeney's on the cusp of making some really big decisions there, and there's some people who seem reasonably mad at Don Sweeney in Boston, speaking for their fan base. Is he going to preside over some very big decisions like that? I imagine he will. There's no reason to think not, but I'm just saying Bruin fans are a little upset.
Yeah, that question is really important here. You need to understand what's going on in Boston. There's a lot of people who are upset, and I'll say rightly so. You fired one of the best coach in the game, okay? And look at what's happening right now. Now Charlie McAvoy is out probably for the rest of the season. If he's back, there'll be probably 2 weeks left in the season if the Bruins are lucky. So you have bad signing on July 1st, question mark decision regarding your coaching staff, and now you have one of your best defensemen injured.
The Swayman contract has some people upset too. He's not doing as good.
And rightly so.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting.
It is, huh?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch it play out in Boston, because they weren't expecting to miss the playoffs under any circumstances, injuries or not. Rennie, great stuff as always, pal. Thanks for joining us on our show.
Always good to talk to you guys, and enjoy the rest of the evening.
You too. Thanks so much.
Ren Lavoie from TVA. Always got his ear to the ground.
Yeah, the Boston thing's kind of fascinating, right?
When we had him on earlier in the year, along with you, he was one of the only guys I ever heard mention Rantanen potentially to get traded. Mm-hmm. And he had mentioned it really early on our show, and he brings up in jest Marchand to the Oilers.
I got
to tell you, nothing's ever made more sense than that to me. Yeah. That is just the perfect type of guy to go in there.
How about a Perry, Marchand,
thank you.
Kane line?
I don't like that.
Ooh.
What is that bug on the desk?
Oh, look at that, eh?
What is it?
It must be the time of year. I saw one of those earlier today, too. Oh, gross. Really?
Well, what am I supposed to do?
I don't know.
How big is that? Is that a cockroach?
My God.
We talk about Brad Marchand and a cockroach.
I can't believe you
what?
That thing.
No, it's gonna rain tomorrow.
No, that's if you lick your ice cream ball.
What?
on your wedding. I don't know.
What are you talking about?
Let's take a break so
know
we
what
can
we're
get to our
talking about.
stink.
But no, okay. Well, let us get it back on the rails here. Marchand to the Oilers makes too much sense. Do you think that would something that would happen?
Oh, I got bug juice all
Yeah,
over me
you
now.
got to take a break so we can go watch his myth. This is a sizable animal he just
It
killed.
is. I could have been killed.
The next Steve Irwin. What happened to Kip? Oh, you should have seen it. It was awful.
An alligator.
Damn alligator bit my hand off.
Am I eligible for workman's comp or anything?
I think you are.
Okay, we're taking a break. We're going to put it back on the rails. It's not even Friday, guys.
Oh, my God.
Okay. I don't know. Do we have a guest? I'm rattled.
No, we don't.
Okay,
but we got
we're going-
lots to talk about.
Well, lots to talk about when we return.
Just trust us.
To real Kyper, Bourne, and an unidentified bug.
Yes. Ugh, bye.
Welcome back into the real Kyper and Bourne edition of our show, National Edition. As a reminder, this hour, Real Kyper and Bourne, brought to you by Bet365. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. Little game time as we continue to bug out here on our show. Did you identify that thing?
It's gross. Your mic's on. Turn your, oh, there you go.
I put it at the very front there if anyone...
it's very quite gross.
I think they can get a close-up of it.
I don't know if we can do that. I don't know. Oh, we're getting. Oh, it feels like we're getting ready for
Feels
one.
like we're trying straight to the very front
moving?
tip here.
I don't think we're getting one.
All right.
Fair enough. It's just a squish bug. We've all seen that before. There it is.
Oh, we're close. We're close. So do I have to move it? Where's that's in front of your computer? Yeah. We're trying our best.
Okay, all right.
All right. Let's do a show.
Good job, guys. Way to go,
Good
Jake.
TV. Good TV.
Yeah, it's game time presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. So, just a couple futures things because there's only 2 games on the ice tonight. If we sit here right now, who do you think the 2 favorites to win the Stanley Cup are? And there's 1, 2. This is a terrible way to form that question because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 teams tied at the second highest odds, and there's one team that has the highest odds.
Is it Washington, Winnipeg?
Nope, it is not. The
Edmonton
Edmonton Oilers are still the favorite to win the Stanley Cup, plus 700. The next 4 teams: Carolina, 9-1.
No thanks.
Washington Capitals, 9-1.
Also no thanks.
Toronto Maple Leafs, 9-1, and Winnipeg Jets, 9-1.
Oh yeah.
You're
There
not
it
you're
is.
not
There it
showing
is.
the Capitals any love.
I know.
They
You know
just
what?
absolutely ate Edmonton up on the weekend.
They were
I'm
so
ready.
good in that
And
game.
you're
I'm
just
ready.
not you don't like them. They're not flashy enough for you.
I don't. I look at their roster and I don't go, yeah, that's a cup winning team. Like Rasmus Sandin, top pair. Sure, they're going to win the cup.
But they've turned him into a defenseman.
Okay.
No.
If he was here in the Leafs, you'd be
No.
saying something about him being top pair. You know, yeah, like Chikrin, they're
20
fine.
goal scorer, Chikrin. Okay, he's
Chikrin's
having
great.
a career year.
No, he's great. He certainly has done great for them.
They're good.
They're good.
I
They're
watched that
very
big.
good.
Watch that
They're
whole game
good,
yesterday. They
and
buzzing.
Ovi's on pace for how many goals this year? 50
Lots.
plus.
No, I'm not buying it.
What-
Okay.
how many? We should mention that
Ovechkin, Dylan's
he's now what
13
away.
I'm just going
Look how
down.
excited you guys are.
Oh,
Right?
I'm just can't wait.
Yeah, or we're having a ceremony for every goal from here on. Do we tell people yet? The great chase.
Just want to bring up, looking down the list a little bit, love the Vegas Golden Knights at 13-1.
Yeah,
That's
a
it.
good bet. It's
You know,
a
that's
really, really good bet.
Good value on that one.
That Winnipeg one's my number.
And the 2 other things I was just going to bring up, there's 2 games on the ice tonight. The Winnipeg Jets are hosting the San Jose Sharks. I believe that's the Amazon game tonight.
Minus 450.
Minus 550. If you want to wager on the Winnipeg Jets, they're minus 550. You could do worse than a Sharks bet
place
for
that bet.
plus 4-1. That's like a good parlay on one game. And then there's a really good game later on. 10:30 puck drop. I know Kyper will be watching this entire game. The Vegas Golden Knights in LA to take on the Kings. Hey, our boy Kevin, his team won in the big.
Yeah,
in the
Kevin
big,
Zegras.
Yeah, in their big.
Yes.
That LA
Team
Strong
Red.
event was fantastic.
Did you watch it?
I did. I watched a little. It was really well done. Yeah, Snoop and Will
I feel
Ferrell.
like we
on the
undersold
mics.
it a little bit. How
Yeah,
good it was.
Steve Carell's out there playing. Bieber's playing. That was a big deal.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito.
Yeah, DeVito's on the bench.
Was he on like a crate behind the bench?
Maybe.
I mean, he could be a listener, so I don't want to. We got all these actors.
Wow, I
out
think
there.
he knows he's short. I don't think
come up in his
I don't think
career.
it was breaking news, Sammy.
I just couldn't believe the talent and then the participation from, we had our own Bieksa and Ron McLean were involved, and that was a really well done thing for a very important cause. That was great.
And I wanted to do one more quick thing as I'm trying to pick it up. Make the playoffs odds. Looking at the bottom of the list here, I'm trying to find the Vancouver Canucks. The Vancouver Canucks are still minus 200 to make the playoffs. The Calgary Flames plus 260. So they still believe in Vancouver, and we're going to probably talk about Vancouver coming in.
Plus 260 to make playoffs?
They are. Plus 260.
You should take that bet.
Yeah.
So in our first hour, we were talking about...
I'm going to wrap it up here, and then we'll get into everything else. So that was Game Time presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds and find out why it's ever ordinary at Bet365. That's 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
Ovechkin good enough at this age to win a cup as their first-line left wing?
Well, he's just going to play 2 minutes on the power play. I know that.
Just be a sledgehammer over there.
Find ways to maybe play
really,
15 minutes, 16 minutes. He's not 20. He's not 22, but he can still shoot it in the net.
God, it was good to see him hit a classic Ovi. When this happens, I just hope he shoots it in that way. There's no point in having it be a tip in or something.
Or an empty netter.
Oh my God, you're empty netters. I get tip-ins. You're not happy with a tip-in?
No, I want an Alex Ovechkin classic.
Oh gosh,
the goal he
scored. I don't think it really matters.
Well, it doesn't really matter
as long as it's not an empty net.
You'd like to see him bomb one past the goalie and get to
empty net.
Yeah, empty. Listen, I've never.
Presumably,
over the course of my career that I've played or I've watched as a broadcaster, once again, watching on the weekend, people get freebies, 2 goals a game, 3 goals a game, empty nets. I don't get it. The game's over. You don't need to pull the goalie anymore and just give up another freebie. Kind of bothers me.
It does bother you.
The Carolina one where the Leafs got the 6-3 was an absurd empty netter. Where it was there was 5-3, there was under a minute left, and they get another one. It's come on.
Was that the Holmberg one? Willie
and then you get to tell people we won 6-3 and oh, you smoked them. And it's no, we almost lost the game. We almost blew it.
Yeah. I don't know. I have no idea what point I was making.
But no, you want Ovi's record-breaking goal to be a hammer.
I was going to say, so right now he's scheduled by pace to take the record over April 10th or something. It could be a very meaningful hockey game for someone.
What does he have? 26 games remaining? So he just needs to score a goal every other game, basically?
Yeah, that sounds about right. They've played 57, so he's got 25 games to go.
25.
Needs 13 goals to get there. They're going to shut down whatever game he scores it in, I presume, to tie it or to beat it. Which is the big deal?
Beat.
So
I think probably both.
Tie, do you think they'll make a big deal?
I would imagine.
Yeah, I think so too.
And you said he's on pace for April 10th? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I read that somewhere today that was the date. The Caps got to...
And Gretzky's got to follow him around. I think Commissioner Bettman's got to follow him around, right?
Gretzky, I presume, wants to be there. And
all I remember
and with Ovi, once he's within 3, you got to be around.
All I remember when Gretzky did it in Buffalo, I think, a record-breaking goal, I think 76 to beat Phil Esposito, Goldie Hawn and Burt Reynolds were there.
Oh, yeah? Hey, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Those are big names.
That's a big deal.
You got the Cap schedule going there
I'm looking at it right here. They play the Carolina Hurricanes on April 10th. And that is it a home? It's a home game, April 10th.
There you go.
And then they go on the road to play Columbus the 12th, and then a back-to-back with Columbus. So
does he do it this year?
Yes. No question, yes.
Yes, no question.
Yeah. And he should do it next year because there's more money to be made for Washington in the league if you drag it out.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
You think they're making any money off this?
I don't know.
They got a logo for it. The Great Chase.
Any sponsor on it?
I don't think so.
And in his career, he has not scored. He's scored the most goals of his career against the Carolina Hurricanes. 51 goals in 91 games. Yep.
By the way, Alex Ovechkin could have 13 goals by March. So,
actually, I lied. The Winnipeg Jets is the number. I go with these be the Thrashers.
Oh, yes, that's what it is.
Yep. Anyways,
all right.
There you go.
Some news and notes to clean up. Trevor Zegras suspended 3 games on a hit on Detroit's Rasmussen, which is a shame that his first professional hockey hit gets suspended.
Oh, jeez. It was It looked like a guy who doesn't throw a lot of hits. That's a bad hit. It's late. It's blindside. It's to the head. It's a bad hit.
Yeah, if Kadri throws that one, he gets 10.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
This is like you've never been in trouble yet.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, I didn't watch the game, so I don't know how the hit kind of came about, but he just seems to be probably a little frustrated over maybe his season or his career. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that one really felt out of context to me. I don't really have an answer for why it happened, but he's under a hit per game in his career, so it doesn't throw a lot of them.
It wasn't that long ago we were talking about him being one of the brightest stars in our game. And, of course, the magic around a Michigan or a pass over a net.
Oh, my God. That's still one of the most amazing.
Right?
That's still one of the most amazing.
But, like,
Sonny Milano batted in midair.
But you know what, Kip? I believe now more than I've ever
What
believed in
to this
too
guy?
soon. Too much too soon.
Cover of a video game.
Yeah. And, you've talked about giving guys money before they've earned it, like the young contracts. Like, yeah, we're going to pay this guy because the Jack Hughes contract looks amazing. And everyone thinks they have Jack Hughes, but then, like, the Sabres end up paying a bunch of guys who did it once and haven't been able to replicate the best of it. And it does feel like sometimes these guys think it's going to be easy, and maybe Zegras is one of those.
Maybe we're to blame a little bit, too, just from
you and me?
Media.
Hey,
maybe
we had
World Junior coverage, because we hype them up like crazy, and they're these can't-miss superstars. And
Who are you talking?
no,
Who are you talking to?
I think we could kind of look at Zegras and Bedard a little bit too here. I watched Bedard against the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I'm like, I don't really get the excitement just yet at the pro level. I watched him do amazing things in junior hockey, but I've also seen other guys do amazing things in junior hockey in their careers.
There's an S and an N in the network to blame, and it ain't us, pal. I don't think you.
Am I wrong on saying that maybe the overhype on some of these guys have set them up a little bit?
But
it's hard.
He's had good years.
Who's that?
Zegras. Like, when he came into the league, he scored 20 goals.
Good years.
In
good
multiple
years. But not superstar.
No.
And certainly not, I don't think.
What's funny
I
is
don't think the words generational were ever followed with Zegras like they were Connor Bedard, but certainly one of the best young players in our game. He sat very much near the top of the list.
I do think, and this is a genuine question, not a rhetorical, how were Taylor Hall's first couple years in Edmonton? I genuinely don't remember, and I'm sure there's some Oilers fans who are incensed about that. My point with this is I think it's really hard when you play on a really bad team, and I'm trying to think who would have been terrible teams.
Now,
Taylor Hall was very similar output-wise to what Zegras was in his. He had 22 goals.
Bedard here, but
he had 22 goals and 27 goals in his first 2 years in Edmonton.
Yeah,
I've been hitting the head over the few years, so I can't really remember. But Taylor Hall, obviously in Edmonton, was a great young star, but I'm not sure he sat at the top of the mountain.
He's a
the way that Bedard does,
like the way Bedard did, or Zegras with their respective clubs. If I'm not mistaken, Taylor Hall,
him and Tyler Seguin were
Taylor and
Eberle and Nugent Hopkins all got the same contract. I think they all went from like whatever they were at to $6 million. And I think they were all kind of equal.
So there's no pressure to be.
So there wasn't necessarily like, you're well above everyone else.
My poorly crafted point is just, I feel like Bedard is dying in Chicago. He doesn't have a guy to play off, Like,
I know.
So it's tough to grow, let alone be good.
It is.
Now, Celebrini's doing pretty well in San Jose.
He's playing with Will Smith. He's got, that's a young guy that's coming up the same age as him. Like, you watch Bedard last night, and you can see the habits creeping in here, boys. Yeah. Like, it's playing on a bad team, losing every night. It's
even where he is in certain areas of the ice, and like nothing really stood out for me. Like, you don't need points to follow someone go, oh my gosh, did you see that? Did you see that? Oh, that there's signs there.
To my previous point, that's Celebrini. You're watching San Jose who stinks, and you go, oh, but geez,
yes,
watch that.
yeah, and I don't get that out of Bedard. And again, it's hard. He's got national commercials. He's been on covers of magazines and billboards, and he's built as the greatest thing for Chicago. And it's like, whoa, comes out and plays 21 minutes, his first 100 games of his career with nobody around him. And it's like, now they're taking a few runs at him. He's been bounced around. He's broken his jaw. Hasn't been a rip-roaring start for this guy in his career.
It's crazy. Like last year, he's 22 goals, 61 points.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah, and this year he's already got 50.
For any first-round pick, that's fantastic.
25 games to go, and he's at 50 points. Like, he'll end up with whatever, roughly 70 or 60.
70.
Yeah, somewhere in that range. Which, good year, but to your point, maybe it feels like the ceiling of what he'll be is one of the really, really good players in the league and not like Crosby.
Not to bring it back to my beloved Team Canada, but I'm about to. You looked ahead to the Olympics next year. I just can't picture him. Like, could you picture him anywhere near that game we watched on Thursday night? It's just like,
well, to Justin's point, how much better is Chicago going to get between now and an Olympic break?
Oh,
right. So what's his chance of looking like a hockey player?
Yeah, in 10 months, 9 months. How much is he going to look? A lot stronger? Is he going to turn that into more goals? Is he
like, none of me sits here today and go, God, he'd have been better than anyone on Canada. I think he's probably outside the top 30 forwards for Canada right now. You're missing Hyman, Scheifele, Wilson. You go through the guys who weren't there.
He'll have lots of time to build chemistry with Mitch Marner, though. So maybe
there you go. They'll have good
there's
half
a couple
the
months
year or something.
or Rantanen or both?
Yeah.
Oh, if they move Seth Jones' money, they could get both.
Yeah.
I mean, if they move Seth Jones' money, they have to get to the floor.
Yeah.
They honestly do.
Okay,
a few other things.
Vancouver?
Or
Edmonton?
Yeah, okay.
Also, Hartman's suspension got dialed back.
Oh,
we were talking about Matthews' inconsistency with producing for the Toronto Maple Leafs in our Leaf Edition hour. Where are you with Petey now and coming back? And maybe he should have taken the weekend off.
I asked the question on Twitter today. If your team could take on Pettersson for no asset right now, $11.6 million for 8 years, would you do it? Which is an insane thing to ask, because years ago, I mean, not that long ago, he scored 102 points and 40 goals.
It's crazy.
Would you want him for free right now, that contract?
I don't know.
I don't know if you do. I think you do.
Oh my gosh, I'd take him free.
You would.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah, and just hope that it's 8 years, Kip. The deal.
I know.
So you think it's coming back. Right now, he's 11 goals and 35 points in 51 games.
I think there's still value there. I know it's expensive, but I'm a billionaire. I own an NHL team.
And
I don't really care.
Up, it's not. Yeah, you're right.
I don't really care.
But do the Canucks value him over what they would value the money? Will they hang on to him?
I think there's a reason why Miller's gone and he's still here. And age is one of them. Mm-hmm. There's just way more still upside for a much younger player. And I just think it's too early between now and what the trade deadline is. 10 days? You're going to make this major decision?
No, you're not.
Not
you're
in
a playoff fight. You're never getting better by trading.
Not a snowball's
with
chance.
Matthews and Morgan Riley, they're not their best so far this year, but all you can do is cross your fingers and hope it gets better.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing else you can do.
Gary.
I was just going to say, talk it after the game yesterday. This is from Ian McIntyre's piece on Sportsnet.ca after the game. Said, we've talked about how he has to move his feet and can't double clutch. Canucks coach Rick Tocchet told Sportsnet Sunday after his main press scrum ended. I think he's waiting for something. I don't know if it's a lack of confidence in his shot, but as soon as he has room, he's got to take it. And he's just got to blast it. I'd rather him just rip a puck right now. He's not moving his feet. I thought today some shifts he was moving his feet, and then it looked like we had some glimpses. On 6-on-5 at the end, it's the same thing, waiting. If he just takes 3 or 4 strides, I don't know if it's a mental block right now, all year, but he's got to move his feet. Oh, boy.
Buddy.
Talk, it's like, I'm sorry, but talk, it's like, please let me coach the Flyers. Like, God.
He's just begging him to be better.
Yeah.
What else can you do?
Yeah.
In other news, Ryan Hartman's suspension
Went from 10
to 8 on NHLPA appeal, which is quite convenient during
hoping to slide under the radar.
CBA negotiations.
Oh, everyone's making nice. Is that what you think?
I don't think it's so much making nice than making a point that if and supplemental discipline is negotiated, right? You got to agree to a CBA with it. So if the feeling was that the appeal goes to the commissioner only and not an independent arbitrator, I have to show that it can work in your favor sometimes.
Yeah, that's good, Kip. That's good. That's a good angle, right? If every time you appeal to the guy who made the decision in the first place, you get shot down, what's the point of this process?
What's the point? So let me throw you a bone while we're negotiating. So the next time it comes up, I can tell you it works.
Yeah, we changed Pion's suspension. We bend. We'll bend for you. We'll work with you. We don't need to change the process. It's fine.
Only you would think of that. That is the most Kipper angle I've ever.
For someone who's always got an angle, he sees the angles.
What the hell? How'd you think of that one?
No, the reason is because I didn't think you shoved his face in the ice as hard as everyone else did.
That's a great point, too. It was probably a 10-game suspension.
12?
Yeah, it could have been a couple more than that.
14?
Oilers, you sent that tweet earlier to our group.
Also in our group is, who's that golfer that hit 1,000 miles to the right and it kicked back into play?
Yeah, Brian Campbell, not to be confused with the former NHL defenseman.
The tweet was from, here it is, Chris Yastrzemski. He's a TNT guy, I believe. Against the top two teams in each division this season, Edmonton is now 1-8-2 and have been outscored 45-27. So point being, the Oilers against good teams haven't been very good. In the playoffs, you're going to play a lot of good teams.
I just worry about their depth everywhere.
Everywhere.
Outside of the net.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
So their only problems are goaltending, defense, and forwards?
I'm not as concerned as the goaltender as I am their blue line.
Yeah. So the blue line, Klingy's been okay. I didn't,
2-5 in their games with him.
Have they?
Yeah,
it's not great.
No.
So,
but he's starting to move a little bit.
There is
like my 85 Volvo in high school.
Gets around.
Matthew Tkachuk ended up going to see some doctors, I think, in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a buzz coming out of New York City that he may end up on the Jimmy Fallon show tonight.
Really?
Matthew Tkachuk's going to be on Fallon, huh?
Well,
Go talk about that big fat L they took. That'll be great. Hey, how'd it feel to lose? Like you always do to Canada.
Aw, he's growing the
Give me a
game.
break.
He's growing the
Don't be a
game.
hater about this.
Oh, I can't stand him. Of course I'm going to hate on him. Oh yeah. Sure, good for him. Good. But what's he going to talk about?
Ice in his groin.
Beating his, you know what?
He should have an ice pack.
He should. He should be getting treatment while he's talking to him.
Is that not like a tough spot for like Fallon? Fallon is a hockey guy though.
Hey,
But,
he goes to the Rangers.
Yeah.
Interviewing a guy
he
who
loves
was on the losing
MSG,
team,
baby.
I guess. Yeah. Okay, great.
No, it's all about growing the game.
Go hockey, go.
Yeah. No, listen, roll with it. We got to sell this game in the U.S.
HRR, baby.
Speaking of U.S., enjoy your vacation. He's gone for a week.
That's right. Tomorrow we bring in Gord Stellick to replace you. You're going to take some time off. I'm jealous.
And he's going to come back broke.
Disney, baby.
All right, everybody. Our thanks to Ren Lavoie from TVA for joining us. Enjoy your quiet Monday night. We're back again tomorrow on the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. Have a great night, everybody.